Hello, welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can crush the Sicilian Najdorf. Now everyone plays the Sicilian Najdorf. It's a very popular opening, one of the most popular in GM levels, and a lot of people don't know how to face it. But I'm going to give you a nice weapon that you can use to crush all your opponents and get some quick victories in the Sicilian Najdorf. Even if black finds the best moves, I think white is still doing perfectly fine, and you get all blacks of counterplay killed. There's also a good chance they didn't study this variation, so you can also throw them off guard. So without further ado, let's begin. So the Sicilian Najdorf, it's pretty simple. It begins with the Sicilian, which is e4, c5, and here you play knight f3, preparing to advance d4, and black will play d6, and now you play d4, opening up the center. Black trades on d4, and now you take back with the knight, centralizing the knight, and black plays knight f6 to attack the e4 pawn. Now you defend it with knight c3, and now black plays a6. This is the knight or Sicilian. This is what everyone knows, and this is probably the most popular position you'll face in GM level after 5 moves. And as a result, there's many good options. White can play bishop e3, bishop g5, bishop e2, bishop c4, f3, f4, g3, h3, h4, knight b3, a3, a4, rook g1, queen d3, bishop d3, queen f3, queen e2, bishop d2, knight f3, knight e2. These are all good moves in the Najdorf, and they've been played so many times. So white has a million options they can play, making it so nice. Heck, even white can play g4. That's a nice move they can play. Look at all these 6 moves white can play. So this is another problem. You have a huge dilemma which variations we play. And so I'm going to teach you a nice system. In my opinion, I like the main line with bishop e3. This is the variation I'm going to recommend. So bishop e3. The point is it's just centralizing the bishop. And we're putting it on a nice diagonal here. And in some variations, we'll prepare a queenside castle. And so black pretty much always plays e5. This is why they played the Najdorf Sicilian, to take away the b5 square to prepare e5. And this is pretty much what you'll face most of the time. And now, pretty much everybody as black is going to be studying this move knight b3 when they play e5. And they're going to be preparing alongside castle. Or in some variations, they're going to prepare um, here the move h5 and try to take away your counterplay in the queen side. In the king side, sorry. So, and as I said, everybody as black is going to be studying that, and you're going to put them in their comfort zone. So that's why, in my opinion, I don't like this variation. I don't like this variation with queenside castling. And trust me, I think you're going to lose more games than win because because in my opinion, at least in my games, black attack usually comes on faster than white's attack, and I think it's quite hard to defend black's attack. So that's the reason why I don't like playing this variation. So after e5, I'm going to recommend a sideline, and that's the move knight to f3. Now, you might be thinking it's kind of ridiculous, right? Why are we blocking your f-pawn now, preventing an f3 or f4? But here's the thing. We're not playing for a kingside attack. We're going to be playing for the positional approach. We're going to be playing for the d5 and d6 squares. The thing about e5 is, while it's a good move, I mean, it does a lot of things. First of all, you gain space in the center, you kick this knight away, and you allow your bishops to develop. You're also weakening the d6 and d5 squares. So we're trying to take advantage of those weaknesses. And so what we're planning to do is quite simple. We're going to play bishop c4 here and try to target the f7 pawn as well as the d5 square. We're going to play, we're going to kingside castle. We're going to probably transfer this knight via c2 and then b6 and try to control the b6 square with the dark squared bishop. In some variations, if we're not able to do that, we'll go bishop g5 and try to remove the defender of the knight on f6. And there's also many more. We're going to try to keep putting pressure on the d5 pawn, putting either rook on d1, sometimes even moving the c3 knight out of the way in preparation for c4. And again, we're going to try to make use of this d5 and d6 weakness. So that's the point of knight f3. In addition, black has many traps they can fall into. So let's start off with one of the most obvious traps. The second most popular move is bishop to e6, and it's played 30% of the time in this position, but this is already not really a good move here because of this move knight g5. And the reason why it's not good is, once again, this light squared bishop is under pressure here. White, he has a lot of pressure on for this light squared bishop, and It turns out black's best move is actually to just give up the bishop there. And here the problem is this e6 pawn is very weak, and we're going to go after this e6 pawn with the move queen f3 and queen h3. And again, this e6 pawn is quite weak, and it's just not very well placed. And black will probably have to go for passive play, not what they were looking for when they were playing the Sicilian Najdorf. They were not looking to be passive when playing that, they were looking to be active. So yeah, this is already kind of an inaccuracy. If black tries to save the bishop with bishop d7, the problem is this is kind of game over because of bishop c4. And we have kind of fried liver happening here with the f7 pawn. So this was an advantage of knight f3. The move knight g5 is possible, sort of discouraging this move bishop e6. So there's benefits to this move knight f3. It's in a slightly more accurate more active square than b3 here. So there are some benefits in playing knight f3 for sure. So knight takes f6, f takes f6, and bishop c4, and you control the e6 square, and a bishop d7, bishop c4, and this is game over pretty much because how are they defending the f7 pawn? So yeah, this is why in my opinion, yeah, bishop e6. Even though it's played in 30% of games, it's already almost close to losing. And so let's say black plays correctly. Black has a couple of moves they can play. Black can play h6. The point is to take away the g5 square if they know you're doing it. Black can play bishop e7 or queen c7. We'll look at many of these moves, but we're going to focus on bishop e7. So let's take a look at the sidelines. h6, well, we're going to continue with our next step of the plan, bishop c4. And try to take advantage of these squares, take control of these squares. And it's largely going to transpose to a line, so I'm not going to take a look at one of those. There is a trap after b5, which I'm going to just describe in the bishop e7 lines, but this is what you do. Very simple plan, and it's basically going to transpose to the bishop e7 lines, so we're not going to take a look too much at it. So we're going to go queen c7 here. That's the other alternative. The point is to stop the move bishop c4. And now we want to try to eliminate the queenside counterplay, and we're going to play that with the move a4. The point is we want to go a5 and prevent this b pawn from advancing, kind of restricting the queenside counterplay for black. And now black will probably play bishop e7 because their job was done. They restricted the c4 square. Now we go a5, and we have a nice grip on this b6 square. And after castles, you can play bishop e2, you can play bishop c6, b6 here. I think both moves are fine for white. Let's just go bishop e2, that's fine. You can keep developing here. Bishop e6, and you just castle. And again, you do have some grip on these nice squares. You can even go a move like knight g5 as well. And I think white has a pretty comfortable game here. And I think white is slightly better because, well, black doesn't have that much counterplay going on. I think black's counterplay kind of got killed. So that's what to do against queen c7. If you ever face that, you might not ever face that. It's not a very commonly found move. I mean, it's only found like 15,000 times on the Lichess database. The move bishop e7 is far more common. Almost 200,000 games on the Lichess database. So we'll look at bishop e7. And what's played much more often. So this is the main line here. And here, we're going to continue with our plan of bishop c4. Taking care of this diagonal, so we have some nice control over these light squares. And now black will most popularly castle here, and we're gonna castle. So our king is on the king side; it's not on the queen side, making this pawn storm much less violent. Because I mean, the worst they can do, the best they can do, is kind of like alter our structure on the queen side, not go for mate, which if you take a look at the English attack, the normal English attack, here, if we were going for b5, b4, here, if they could succeed, our king is on the queen side, so they can get mating attacks, as well as drive the defenders of these knight. Here, the best they can do is just maybe kick this knight bishop away, kick this knight away, and so on. And trust me, the most popular move here on Lichess is pretty much just losing on the spot. The most popular move on Lichess, by a decent margin, is this move b5. This is the most popular move on Lichess, and this is already game over because you play bishop d5. And what are they doing about this rook? The rook is trapped. I mean, okay, they can trade, but here you take with the queen, and this rook is trapped. They can't do anything about this. Remember, the rook can't go to a7 because our bishop is here, so we take it. The best they can do is give up a piece. So there's a good chance you could actually just win a game in 10 moves, which is isn't that quite nice? So yeah, this is the most popular move, b5, and it's just losing on the spot. That's quite a nice thing to do. And this is the reason why this variation is quite nice. It's because it's so positional and you're trying to annoy black so much. I mean, if they got active with b5, black is so feeling so annoyed that his counterplay is not that going that strong that he's losing on move 10. So that's why so this is already a mistake. So there are a couple of moves. The most popular moves are h6, knight c6, and bishop e6. Those are probably the most popular moves you'll face. We'll go over h6. This is a sideline. You might not face it that often. But the problem is you're weakening the g6 square. So here, I think the best move here is this very sneaky move, knight h4. The point is we're trying to play knight g6 here. And yeah, the point is, let's just say, again, b5 still doesn't work because of the same bishop d5. And this is, once again, game over. It's the same exact trick. I mean, okay, it's a little different because this time there is a knight on h4. So you're not going to win a piece. Here, black blocks. I don't know with knight c6. Black can I mean, sorry, black can win a piece with bishop h takes h4, but you'll win the rook, and you're still up in exchange. This is still totally winning. So um, and this is still the second most popular move, by the way. b5 is the second most popular move. The most popular move is bishop e6, and probably the best move. And here, the move you want to play is bishop b3. And this will kind of transpose to a variation that could happen after bishop e6, which I think white is doing perfectly fine on. So again, we won't take a look too much at bishop at h6. Knight c6 is a sideline. This is not the main move, but against knight c6, here we're just going to play. There's plenty of moves you can play. I think the best move is queen e2. The point of queen e2 is you're just trying to play rook f d1 and try to control the d5 square as much as possible. Again, b5 is not really that good of a move because of bishop b3 or even bishop d5 is good. And again, if black takes, you always take back with a knight. And the thing you want to remember is you never take back with a pawn. And this knight is quite active, and I don't think black has enough counterplay here. You could even just win the dark square bishop if you want, which will make this d6 pawn very weak. And here, yeah, if black plays, I don't know, if bishop e6, which is I think a better move, you just go bishop b3. So remember, it's kind of like the London system, kind of like, there is a variation of the London system. We're kind of mirroring that path. Like, for example, in the London system here, if black ever challenges your dark square bishop, you retreat back, so because you want them to open up the H file. It's very similar here. If black plays bishop e6, you always slide back to b3 because you want them to take, so you get an open file for the rook. It's a very similar process. And so we'll take a look at the main line, and that's bishop e6, which you'll face most of the time. This is by far the most popular move here. Like, as I said, you might not never face h6 for knight c6. Bishop e6 is by far the main move, and here you play bishop b3. That's the move you play here. And again, you don't take because you don't want to allow them to improve their center, so you trade and you want them to take. And this is, again, not a good trade because you take back with the a pawn, and you open up your rook. This rook is quite active, and you prevent, for example, b5 doesn't really work because you can always play knight takes b5. And again, a takes b5 doesn't work because the pawn is pinned. Yeah, the pawn is pinned, so this doesn't work. So yeah, that's the point why we drop back to b3. And we'll take a look at another trap black in plays. There's a lot of traps I've told you. White is not done setting traps. A lot of Najdorf players will play the move knight b7. This is the second most popular move here. And it's already losing, because you play bishop takes e6 here. And if f takes e6, you go knight g5. Remember the sneaky knight on f3 going to g5? And taking away and attacking the e6 pawn. Black can play knight c5 to defend, but this is not really good for them. You win a pawn here. I mean, black won't lose. Can trade queens, but again, white is completely winning here. Because I mean, who wants to play this position as white? Black, not me for sure. You're just white is down a pawn. White is up a pawn, and black has no compensation here. So, this is already another trap. So we'll take a look at knight c6 here. Against knight c6, you're just going to play very simple moves. Queen e2, rook fd1, and control the d5 square as much as possible. I mean, the best move for black is knight a5. And here you go, rook fd1. Take control of the d5 square. Black will trade. You always take back with the a pawn. Always remember, you want to capture towards the center. You maybe want to reserve the idea for c4. And probably the most popular move is queen c7. And now the other plan, we go bishop g5. This is what we want to do. Bishop d5 and try to trade off the bishop for the knight. It's a very simple plan that works quite well, I think. I think this works quite well. If rook a c8, maybe if you're trying to discourage that, here you'll trade and play the move rook a c1. The point is, you're now preparing knight d5, and there's not really much they can do to stop it. Black wants to go d5 at some point. They want to achieve this equalizing break, but we don't let them. And I think white is doing perfectly fine. I think white is slightly better because I think these knights are better than the bishops. With a sort of close center, and black's d6 pawn is quite weak. So I think white is definitely slightly better here, and you're doing pretty well as white. So that's pretty much what to do against bishop e6, which once again transpose always. And as I said, if they go h6, you go knight h4 here. That's the move you want to remember, which tries to take control of the g6 square. The point of a6 was to prevent bishop g5. Now here it's to prevent bishop g5 because the bishop's already on e6. And here, knight bd7 can be played here, and here against knight bd7, you can go knight f5, or you could also go knight g6. Let's just say knight g6, I think, is the best move, and you're going to win the dark squared bishop, which here it's actually quite good. Even though this is technically black's bad bishop, I think white is doing perfectly fine here. So knight d5, you still have a grip on the d5 square. And you're going to, once again, you can secure the e4 pawn with f3, and I think you're doing very well here. I think white has a pretty good advantage. So yeah, that's so this is my recommendation against the Sicilian Najdorf and how to crush it as white. So remember, you go bishop e3, and then e5, you don't go knight b3, and you go knight f3, and you're going to annoy your opponents. And if you win a lot of quick victories, you can thank me and for this quick video tutorial that I made about the Sicilian Najdorf. There are a lot of traps that black can fall into because of the fact that it's quite complicated for black to play this position. And I think white is doing very well, and you're going to win a lot of games. And that is it for this video. Hope you liked it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.